you were talking about the balance, and that's kind of interesting with these three different sports. What was it like at the beginning of trying to balance it all? Did you feel like, oh, I mastered this sport, let me introduce another one? Did you go in just taking it all and just like praying for the best? What was that transition like?
Yeah, it was a lot of praying for the best. A
Okay.
lot of, when I first got hired at ESPN, this was in 2011, and I initially got hired to do some college football, but mostly like a bunch of college basketball, just because there are so many teams and so many games. But I was kind of slated to do college volleyball. I was asked to do the NCAA wrestling championships. I was going to do college baseball and college softball, mostly because these are all sports that I'd covered. When I was coming up before I had gotten hired there, I did a lot of freelance TV work, some very low level productions around the state of Illinois, around the Midwest, and kind of driving to places, doing a lot of Division II stuff. And I covered tennis and softball. I did the Division II World Series, the Division II tennis championships, the Division II basketball Elite Eight. I did the Horizon League volleyball tournament. I played volleyball in high school after I'd stopped playing baseball. So that was like the niche sport that I knew. I covered high school wrestling when I was in Iowa. My first full-time job out of
It's big there, right?
it's huge. Like Iowa, Minnesota, South Dakota, Nebraska. These are states, the plain states and around the Midwest. They really take that stuff seriously. And in Illinois, they take volleyball very seriously. So these were sports that I was exposed to and that I called a lot of. So when I got hired at ESPN, part of the reason they hired me was when they asked me, well, what have you done? I listed off all these things along with baseball and basketball and football, things that are a little bit more, I guess, mainstream, for lack of a better term. I felt comfortable being able to say I can do all these things. Now I need some work on some of these things. I need to learn more, but I can do them if you need somebody to do them. So they tossed all this stuff right out of the gate pretty much at me. So I was doing 5 or 6 different sports when I first got hired at ESPN. And that's kind of what I had done in college. And that's kind of what I had done in my previous job, plus covering minor league baseball. So the expectation was, well, just
Do it all.
go do it all. And I tried to do my very best at all of it. And I got tossed various things. Here, do this water polo match, do the Nathan's hot dog eating contest, and figure out how to make this a thing and how to make it sound professional, but like you're having fun, and like try to find the balance of that. And it was a great training ground. If nothing else, it was an outstanding, early test to see how you respond to kind of, again, not adversity. It'd be a stupid way to refer to it in my head now, but just here's some hurdles to kind of leap over and see how you react to them. And I think that was it was a great conditioning test for me over the course of those first 5-6 years working at ESPN.
Was there regret telling them that you could do everything? Because as far as the workload goes, was it overwhelming?
I don't regret it, but it's easy to not regret things when it worked out okay. Like in hindsight, it was the very best thing for me. And for somebody who has been fairly uncomfortable for most of his life, like I think I've never really been, or hadn't really been, comfortable in my own skin for a long time. And when that happens, or when you're that type of person, you just have a tendency to sit in it. Just be like, well, this is who I am. I'm an uncomfortable person, and I'm awkward, and I'm shy, and I'm not going to really be, I'm not really going to challenge myself, because it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're just like, well, it's not going to work out, so I might as well not even try. And I'm glad that work, the career, the dream of the job was enough to force me to say, you better get out of your comfort zone, because if you don't, you're not really going to impress anybody enough to have them trust you to do the things that you really want to do in the future. So I think, I definitely wasn't thinking about it in that moment exactly like how I'm able to, verbalize it now, but
Yeah.
those elements were all there. It was a lot of like, get out of your comfort zone. Like, you have to do this. You're about to be thrown on TV. You better sound like you know what you're doing, because again, it goes back to that insecurity of like, I don't want to look stupid in front of people. So I did all the research I could, and I asked all the people that I could find that knew what they were talking about. Talk to me like I'm an idiot, and teach me and tell me
Yeah.
what you think I should be talking about. And that's what I'm going to focus on. And I'm going to try to make those things the key talking points, so that the audience that's coming in, maybe like me as a casual fan, or an unknowing fan, or an unknowing person who's just stumbling upon this, I'm going to explain it to you the way it was explained to me so that you feel like you have a grasp of it just the same way that these very, very smart people told me so that I would have a grasp on it.